Yo, Wes, what's happening, dude?
What up, Brian Paul? How's it going, man?
Well, just trying to pretend like the 24 pack of the empty 24 pack of Diet Coke sitting on my floor doesn't constantly distract me out of my peripheral and make me think that tornado is sitting over there because it's like the same color gray and about the same size as my cat. Um, and so yeah, I never know where she is because I always think she's sitting in the middle of the floor. That's
Yeah,
all I
I
got.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure she'll show up at some point and show her butthole to the world.
I'm
She's good for that.
I'm sure. I'm just fascinated about the fact that like she hasn't taken over the 24 pack of Diet Coke as her own, right? So like me thinking that that's where she is should be where she is because she would fit right in there perfectly. I think she'd love it, but try telling a cat what to do and good luck with that. Cool. I'm gonna start the show, man. I'm a little bit concerned that we're gonna have technical problems, but we're gonna roll the dice. You ready to go?
Let's try fingers crossed, toes crossed, other things crossed as well.
Cross your balls, everyone. Let's go. This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Eyes Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure. And for those viewing, I am indeed wearing my Zombie Army VR shirt for day 3 in a row. Wes, day 3. It was heavily requested right before the show. Being, Brian, are you wearing your Zombie Army shirt again? You wore it on Monday's show. You wore it during your Bryan Bites on Tuesday. And I picked it up off the bathroom floor and let's see how many days in a row I can wear this thing for. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here with that Parole on this gentleman over here. To my left, you're right. It is Wes Dillon from Virtual Strangers. Hello, Wes.
What's up? Hello, Brian Paul. Hello, Game Cats. Welcome. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy Hump Day. Pretty exciting day so far, yeah.
Yeah, I mean we've had better, but
No,
but
of
we've also
course.
had worse.
Yeah. Well, I'll call it better than last week. How about that? Is that a
Yeah.
fair statement?
Listen, last week was. I love when we have nothing to talk about and then we just talk about horror movies for an hour and
Right.
and like people who are unfamiliar with the show probably walked away and said, was that a PSVR podcast? And the people familiar with the channel is like, yeah, that's what we expected, right? Yeah.
That's what we do. Just make it
Yeah.
up.
But it wouldn't be Wesday, Wes, without some killer announcements and boy, did Flat to VR. Flat to be. Let's just knock this out right away. Flat to VR
Yeah.
announced today that they are teaming up without Parole. I'm speaking in third person, like Flat to VR, some nebulous entity, and without Parole, some other nebulous entity, to do a PlayStation VR2 day. Wes, I listen. If somebody screws up here and says too much about what PlayStation VR2 day is, I don't want it to be me. So, would you mind taking the lead on this and telling people when it is, what it is, kind of what to expect? Obviously, you're not going to reveal too much, but you're going to talk a little bit about it, right?
Yeah. So certainly. So this is something that we've been working on behind the scenes for some time, and some of you more eagle-eyed game cats out there might have noticed a time or two in recent weeks that I may have alluded to something big coming up on the channel or some sort of announcement or something. I've been very intentionally vague, and they're going to continue to be intentionally vague about it because essentially today we announced that we're going to have an announcement. Essentially, we announced that there's going to be an announcement. But PSVR 2 day is going to be much more than that. This is essentially, it's a lot of things. In many ways, it's us giving back to the community that has placed so much faith in us and has supported us since we started. Flat to VR Studios, and then later on Impact Inked. But it's basically going to be a celebration of some sorts of what we've got coming for PSVR2. Not so much long term, we've got things obviously in the works for years to come, but we're going to be largely focused on things that we've already kind of everyone's already aware of. Not completely, but mostly things that people are already aware of, and things that are coming very, very soon. So we're going to have announcements. We're going to have a lot of behind the scenes, like dev talk, letting people know what it's like to kind of develop for PSVR2 and publish games on the platform. Um, we're going to have announcements. We're going to have reveals. We're going to have a giveaway, Brian Paul, and it's not going to be just some BS giveaway either. We've got a pretty shiny prize that we think people are going to be pretty excited for.
Are you going to tell people what that is?
Yeah, I'm just making sure I'm okay to go ahead and do this. And yes, it seems like we're good. We're going to give away a PS5 Pro console. Um, and I think this is going to be a larger giveaway. We're not going to give it away on that day, but we are rigging the system in a way that people who show up live and watch the show that day are going to be heavily favored to win. And there's going to be other things to win as well. We're going to give away game keys and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be an epic giveaway. It's going to be an epic showcase of what's coming to PSVR2 in the near term from Flat to VR Studios and Impact Inked. It's going to be a day full of celebration and surprises. And like I said, we've been working on it for some time, and we're very, very excited for it.
Yeah, it's. I think it's funny that because of the image that was used to promote this thing, and obviously the only thing that was announced during the announcement of the event is that there's the RoboQuest release date is going to be announced, which is awesome, right? That's a game that I think a lot of people are looking forward to. Anyone who's played the flat screen version or even heard people talk about the flat screen version, I mean, this is not just going to be another first-person shooter roguelite, right? This is going to be the first-person shooter roguelite that you're going to want. If you've ever enjoyed one, this is the one. But it kind of seems like this is the only announcement. Like you could tell right away that the messaging was like maybe a little bit, I don't want to say flawed but obviously the number one question was, is it just RoboQuest or is there going to be more announcements? And there's going to be a lot more announcements.
This is the only thing that we're pretty much revealing ahead of time that people know that they can tune in and learn. But there's going to be a lot more than just this. But we know people are excited for this. A lot of people are, curious, even some nervousness as the end of the calendar year approaches, and we still haven't announced a launch date for this very highly anticipated title. So we're going to do that during PSVR2 Day. You can tune in to find out when RoboQuest VR is coming. And it is, though, going to be much more than that. There will be other reveals, behind the scenes stuff. It's just going to be a celebration of Flat to VR and PSVR2. And it's going to be exciting.
Hashtag viewer takeover. This one comes from Crunchewy. Okay, this isn't actually a viewer takeover question, but I am just putting him on blast because I think it's funny. I had put a poll up in our Discord saying how much faith do you currently have in Flat to VR Studios, and it was obviously overwhelmingly positive. But Crunchewy's response to it just stuck in my head, and he wrote, "Honestly, I'm not convinced we get anything more than the games we have now from them. One game." One game must have been Trombone Champ. I'm assuming he means one game, and that was likely the easiest one to make. Also, I do not like Postal at all, and a business can't survive without actually producing games, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go out of business before much longer. They can't announce their way out of it. This is one of my favorite this is one of my favorite comments, because even as I was reading that like a month ago, whenever this poll went up, in my head, I was like, boy, I don't know a lot of what's happening at Flat to VR, but I know just enough where this comment is not going to age well. And so, so Crunch Chewy, if you're out there, pay attention, baby boy. You are in for a treat.
Yeah, and we need to be clear too that it isn't just about Flat to VR Studios. This is just as much, if not more so, about Impact Inc. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what Impact Inc. is, it's essentially our publishing arm, right? Like when we partner with external development studios to help bring games, oftentimes bring games to PSVR2. So yeah, this is not just going to be a Flat to VR Studios event, but an Impact Inc. Event as well. And it's two labels, it's two brands, it's one company, essentially. And if you consider that, then we've got two. We've got two on the platform already because we've got Trombone Champ, which was developed in-house, and then we have Surviving Mars Pioneer, which was developed by Bulwark. So yeah, and again, I agree with your general sentiment that that comment is not going to age very well. But it's good. I'm glad people are skeptical. You know, the worst thing would be if people didn't care. And even if this person is skeptical, at least obviously he would care. I assume that this person would want to be wrong. You know, maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but maybe that they would want to be wrong and for us to just come out and blow everyone away with all these awesome titles. And I never played Postal for what it's worth, so I get it.
Excellent. Remind us, Wes, the date and time of the stream. It is happening on Without Parole, which, by the way, shout out to Flat to VR. Thank you so much for trusting me for the on this. We are not the biggest VR channel, but we are the biggest PSVR2 channel, PSVR2 exclusive channel. So it's very cool to be, you know, associated with this at all. But what's the date and time we're airing this?
We are going live on Tuesday, November 4th, with this. And I think the time is going to be 2:30 p.m. Eastern, so like 11:30 Pacific. But I will say that is somewhat tentative. It could be a little earlier than that. But right now, that's what we're going with, is 2:30 p.m. Eastern.
Excellent. All right, you guys. So be excited for that. It should be a really great day, you know, full of all sorts of exciting news. It's not too long from now. And of course, it's happening right in the middle of an already insanely busy season, a busy season that we're going to be talking about more in just 1 second. But first, shout out to Not Short Brondo with the $10 tip. What's up, dude? He says, I'm having way too much fun with 90s extreme skiing and haven't even tried the multiplayer yet. All right, well, that's awesome to hear, because my feeling about 90s extreme skiing was that I thought it was a really cool game, but it doesn't really shine until you play the multiplayer. So the fact that you're having fun with it without the multiplayer is pretty awesome. Wes, have you even tried this game yet?
No.
Perfect.
Glad I could assist.
I know that you're, you know, doing your best to get all caught up on some stuff that you missed out on over the last few months, and so maybe put it on your list, man. Maybe you got to check this shit out.
Yeah, I don't doubt that it's good fun for people. I mean, obviously, I've heard so many people singing the praises of it. I'm not as big of.
Never happen here.
I'm not as big a fan of casual games as even you are. Like, you know, I can recognize that they have a fun and addictive loop, but you know, I have a very specific taste when it comes to the games that I choose to play, and typically it's something that you can sink your teeth into a bit more in terms of single player, story driven. You know the deal. You know, you guys know what type of games I like. So I don't doubt that this game is fun. Like, obviously it's great. Just not typically the sort of thing I gravitate toward.
Up Lives and Rain, baby, we're almost there.
Yes, sir, we are.
The Game Cat Andrew Ehrenreich with, oh shit, hold on a second. I love when the tip window updates as I'm scrolling through it. There it is. The Game Cat, Andrew Ehrenreich with the level 2 membership. Also, member for 24 months. We don't see members usually being around that long. That's crazy. It says, does Flat to VR, or anyone for that matter, have any games in the pipeline that can fill the gaping hole in my heart? Really wanted to go somewhere else with that, Andrew. Where Eve Valkyrie used to be. That is interesting. Do we have any kind of space shooters?
And I want to say yes. I want to say yes, but for the life of me, I can't remember what they are. It does seem like there was recently something to this effect that was announced. I don't know if it's, a 1-for-1 Eve Valkyrie style game, but it was a cockpit shooter of sorts. I just, for the life of me, I can't remember what it was. And by me not remembering what it was, I also don't remember if it's coming to PlayStation or not. But yeah, there are new games being developed in this genre.
Yeah, the most what I'll probably say here is that like if it was announced for PSVR2, it probably would have triggered a memory for me. And so probably one of these games that is coming to Quest or PC, and then we'll have to do a little nudging to convince them to bring it our way. I made things at Colony Wars. Oh, I think I do know about a game that's supposed to be coming to PSVR2, but I don't think it's been made public. Yeah, I'll just keep my mouth shut on that one. And so the answer to your question, Andrew, is I think so, but just be patient and the announcement will come soon. Oh my God, I got to refresh. I'm just going to hit the F5 button. You guys are just going to have to wait. All right, let's try this again. Shapeshifter, the Anomaly Game Cat, sent 5 without parole gift memberships. The most generous community of all time. These names turn greener and greener with every single stream. Thank you, Shapeshifter, the Anomaly Game Cat. Oh, Andrew Ehrenreich's back with a $5 tip. Says, oh, by the way, I put 9 hours into Memoriam, and I'm fucking loving it. Definitely one to keep an eye on when it drops on PSVR 2. You talked about Memoriam, was it last week's show, the week before? I can't remember.
It was the week before. It was the week before, and definitely looking forward to getting back into that one. Like right after we covered it, really one of the only kind of negatives we had to say about it was that it was kind of Questified graphics. You can tell it was developed for Quest 2, and like literally right after we covered it, maybe the same day that we talked about it or the very next day, it got a Quest 3 graphics enhancement, and people say it looks great now. So definitely need to get back in there and check it out.
Good to hear. I'm looking forward to the PSVR 2 graphics enhancement. But as a fan of Dead Space, I'm going to patiently wait for this to be announced. Well, I guess re-announced for PSVR 2. They're not even talking about it in the previews and anything like that because I'm sure it's probably a little ways off. Maybe we'll get it for next October. Or maybe Flat to VR is covering it. Who knows?
Impact Inked. It would be.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I actually made a joke in a direct message with the Flat to VR guys before the show, being like, no one understands what Flat to VR Inked is. No one gets it.
Well,
and
this is the way to think about it. This is the way to think about it for those of you who get confused. Obviously, the parent company was Impact Reality. That was the first company that before even Flat to VR Studios became a thing. And Inked just essentially refers to getting these studios to sign the contract. So when we get these guys inked, we publish the title. So Impact Inked.
Publishing. Got it. Got it. All right, we got Comic Book Guy with £5. What's up, dude? Says, are you going to be putting up some Halloween decorations? And next Friday, I think, is Halloween. Oh my God, is it really? Please don't say things like that.
Already.
A week from Friday is Halloween. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know what? It's so. Hold on a second. Let me switch over to full screen, Brian. This is what I have here now. Right behind me, like this, it's a brick wall and it's a window. I used to have like the video game shelves behind me, so it was really easy to put up like Halloween things. And now it's just this, right? Which I think looks nice, almost elegant, but certainly not great for decorations. There's no place to really hang things. Plus, I'm the kind of person. Yeah,
you can get some of those window stickies. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. The problem is, Wes, if I put stuff up, it's gonna stay there till next year.
Right.
Right? Because that's why I don't get a Christmas tree, because I'm like, it would just be here all year round. It's be silly, you know. I don't. When we were doing a little remodel on this place, we ripped out both closets. Because the place is too small for closets. Let's just rip them out. Let's just have like exposed shelving, that kind of stuff, and so there's no place to put decorations and shit when I'm not using it. So it's just it's either out or it's out. That's it.
Good.
Yeah, but we'll see, man. We'll see. Maybe who knows? Like I still haven't gotten really into the Halloween spirit, but if the mood strikes me, maybe I'll end up at Spirit Halloween and make this place look all sexy. That is if I ever get my Jeep back. They're supposed to be calling, by the way, about my Jeep repair. So I may have to stop during the show and go find out if what the damage is. Dratseb sent one without parole gift membership. Thank you so much for your generosity. We're going to get back to the tips in a little bit here. Wes, one of the things I love about the show are the viewer takeover questions. And remember, you guys, if you ever want to get your question on the show and you don't feel like spending any money or using your memberships, just go over to our Discord. Click the link in the description below and come join us over there on Discord and go into the viewer takeover channel and leave your question there. Just like PSVR Fanatic did, he wrote hashtag viewer takeover. How does the end of year lineup for 2025 compare to what we got last year with Behemoth, Alien, and Metro? So, I know the title of this video is a little misleading. Like, is this the best year yet for PSVR2? That's way too big of a question to answer. Like, that would legit be the full episode. So I decided to simplify it a little bit. And just to answer PSVR Fanatic's question, we keep saying, oh my God, the next couple months are the busiest PSVR2's ever been. Oh, this is crazy. There's just games nonstop. Oh my God, there's other games that are coming out that you don't even know about yet. Oh, I'm under embargo for this game. Oh, we just got review keys for this. And it's just nonstop, right? And we're starting now. We're in the midst of it, and it's going to go all the way through probably December, because I guarantee you some games get pushed into December that have already been announced, or games like Thief that are supposed to be coming this year but don't have a release date yet. December sounds perfect for that. So I want to compare directly last year's October, November, December to this year's October, November, December. And somebody in the chat who is smarter than me is going to go, Bryan, you missed a bunch of games. But here's my chart. Here's my chart. And I guess I got 2024 on the left and 2025 on the right. And in going through it and looking at what we got here is see when he posed the question, Wes, I was like, man, nothing's going to beat that, like that trifecta of games, right? Metro Awakening, Behemoth, Alien Rogue Incursion, and then a personal favorite of mine, Subside. I was like, there's no way this season could beat last season.
Looking at Arizona Sunshine Remake, Metal Hellsinger. I mean, there's some solid titles on there, bro.
Yeah, there are. And we even got Demeo Battles during that time. And Phasmophobia.
Phasmo, yeah.
Right? So, like, just a ton of great games, classic games, stuff that, we're still playing to this day. Everybody's got their own definitions. Some people consider Behemoth and Metro like AAA games. I consider them probably single A. And but again, we don't even get that caliber of game very often on PSVR2. So in the chat, please let me know, you guys, looking at these lists, and let me know if there's any games that I missed October, November, December for each of these years. If there's any games I missed that need to go on here to help the comparison. I started putting together the 2025 list for October, November, December. And obviously there's a lot of speculation that's going to go into this. We're assuming these games are going to be good. Whereas with 2024, we've got the benefit of hindsight. We know that some of the games didn't turn out as good as we wanted to be, or they were fine or whatever, but we didn't have to question. We know what those games are. We don't really know some of these 2025 games, but looking at it and seeing things like Aces of Thunder, Luminous Arise, Battlemarked, Demeo, and Dungeons and Dragons, Of Lies and Rain, Rush VR, what else? Sweet Surrender's coming. We already got Wallace and Gromit. Zero Caliber Remastered is supposed to come out. Hotel Infinity just got a release date today. Thief VR, Legacy of Shadow, Made of Scare is supposed to be November. RoboQuest VR. Oh, by the way, yeah, I put all these flat to VR titles at the bottom of the list because you guys have been saying 2025 for a while, and we haven't gotten any updates. So this isn't like just a heads up. This isn't like a preview of what's to come on PSVR2 Day. We're just assuming that all of these are going to be 2025. RoboQuest VR, Out of Sight, V-Racer Hoverbike, and Trenches, which again get delayed like literally from yesterday or today. Was it supposed to be out today?
Today, yeah, that's right.
Right. So based on this list, Wes, and seeing in comparing 2024 to 2025, which year? Oh yeah. So Tommy in the chat says Ghost Town should probably be on the list. It probably should be, but we don't know for sure, but we are assuming some stuff here as well, so let's throw it on there.
Yeah, there are others too. There's things on here that'll probably not launch this year. Some of the stuff will get delayed, and then there are other things that are going to pop up that you're not expecting that are going to be on here. But I think this is a pretty good representation of what we're generally expecting, and it's difficult to say that like you said, like we have the benefit of knowing what last year's games turned out to be, and we don't know which one of this year's games are going to be great and which ones are going to be stinkers. But with that said, I think the answer to the question is it depends. Like, I think that last year's kind of like high points, I think there might be more like really high points from last year's lineup than in this year's lineup. But I think the overall quality, the average quality of the 2025 list is probably going to turn out to be pretty significantly above the 2024 list. I think that I don't think there's going to be a lot of bad ones on this list. Whereas the 2024 list, there's some, I won't be playing Pets and Stuff or Onerium anytime soon.
Right.
Space Fist, although that sounds like something that my mother would love. Not my thing. So yeah, it just depends, man. It depends on what your criteria are. I think having Arizona Remake, Alien, Behemoth, and Metro in a tight window like that's going to be hard to beat any year. But I think Luminous is going to be great. I think Aces of Thunder is going to be very good. Lies and Rain, we'll be able to talk about soon, but everyone already knows that we're super hyped for that. And then there's Thief, there's Made of Scare, there's RoboQuest, like V-Racer. I mean, there's a lot of really good titles coming this year as well. So yeah, I think if you want the quantity, I think 2025 wins it hands down.
Corey Review says 2025 better than 2024. Let's see. Fat Boy Vernon was telling us about Ghost Town. That's good. A perky PSVR2 GameCast says the Vampire Hotel game. That's Bloody Hell Hotel. And that the flat screen game isn't coming out till 2026. And then they begin work on the PSVR2 version. So patience on that one. But yeah, I honestly think looking at this, it's going to come down to preference a little bit. And I mean, I just was in love with Tetris Effect and the fact that Luminous Arise, like I like Luminous more than I like Tetris somehow. That's awesome. Of Lies and Rain, based on the demo, like just a phenomenal game. Rush VR is the port that we've been waiting for so long and begging the binary mill for. And then not only did we get a port, but we got just this exclusive PSVR2 version that's just looks like it's going to be amazing. And then Zero Caliber Remastered, Thief VR. I think it's, like I said, kind of a personal preference thing, but I think more of the titles are games that I would gravitate to more, that I would be buying if I wasn't, running this channel. Whereas last year, I honestly think it's the big ones are the ones I'd be buying, like the Metro and Alien and Behemoth, right? But I look at 2025 and I'm like, I'd buy most of these games even if I wasn't running this channel. So I think these games speak to me more. And if Ghost Town does come out this year for PSVR 2, that's the clincher. That's the winner.
Yeah, I think in terms of which games I would buy, I think you're right. It's probably 2 to 1, 2025 over 2024. There's only like half of that list. I would probably ever go back and play again, if that. But the ones that I would play, I think, are great games mostly. We do have some B tier solid games as well, like Vendetta Forever is a solid, really good game. Demeo Battles is okay. I know you love Phasmophobia. I think it's pretty good. Um, and then Subside. But these other games is Corridor, Masters of Light, and the ones I already mentioned a minute ago. Even the Whitewater VR. Like, I'm never gonna go back and play any of those games again.
Yeah, the ones you listed: Corridor, Masters of Light, Whitewater VR, Onirium, Pets and Stuff, Space Fist. I mean, I just no, like I don't think those match anything in the lower tier section on the 2025 list. So based on this very weird, very specific comparison, I do think that this year is looking better than last year. Again, specifically during these crazy months where we're just getting flooded with games. I think if we expand the search parameters a little bit, then Arcanage starts falling into the conversation. It's like, oh, hold on a second, let's talk, let's talk. But I just thought it would be fun. I thought it'd be a fun thing to look at because PSVR Fanatic asked, and like, oh, let's take a quick look at it.
And what does that say? What does that say? People like to rail on and on about how the platform's dead and there's no games, and like here we are at the end of 2025, and there's clearly many more solid titles coming to the platform this year than there even was last year. So, yeah.
Let's see what else we know. Oh yeah, we mentioned Hotel Infinity during this, and so we got news today that Hotel Infinity, surprise, Wes, is coming out in November. I mean, it's so funny at this point. Like I just wake up and I check the news channel and I'm like, well, what other games are coming out over the next 2 months that hold on, do I even have a trailer for this? Of course I do. What is happening? Is it called Hotel Infinity? Yeah, there it is. Basically anytime a game announces a release date at this point, I just know it's going to be out in October or November. And so I was not surprised at all to see this, but I am oddly excited for this one, right? We don't have anything really like this. And as we talked about before, this does seem to kind of utilize the whole game, T for God, walking mechanic, right? Utilizing whatever space you have and really making the most of it. And of course, just giving you the option to use the analog sticks if you don't have any space to walk around in, like I kind of don't. This is kind of perfect for VR. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm fairly optimistic about it as well. I like these kind of outside the box, so to speak, puzzle games, and I think this one has potential. Now, obviously, I haven't watched this trailer yet, by the way, so maybe it looks like super awesome. I haven't seen it yet, but
YouTube won't let me download the new one for some reason. We're watching the old trailer. I'm sorry, you guys.
Well, yeah, well, that's all I've seen, and that's enough. I mean, I can tell that it's a cool concept for a game. Obviously, they've got to deliver on it, but it seems unique, and especially when it comes to puzzle games, that's what you like to see.
Yeah. And there's been so many games that play with perspective, like Hotel Infinity seems to, that have come out on the flat screen PlayStation 5, and I'm like, what? Why is this not a VR game? Like I feel like especially games that utilize perspective in the way that those games do, like it's maddening. I can't think, of course, any of the titles off the top of my head, but I've seen so many of them over the last couple of years, and I'm just glad this one is actually a VR game.
Yeah, developers, I think, overestimate the amount of work and difficulty that goes into porting to VR. Like it's not as difficult as it was 5 years ago, and I think for that reason they just don't even consider it. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to educate the masses over the coming years that we a lot of these flat games can run in VR, and should and will hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's the even bigger benefit that flat to VR will have. Not just the fact that we're going to get some great games in VR from you guys, but the fact that you just by doing it, you're educating people that like this is the way forward. And I think it'll get a lot of developers thinking, well, my game's kind of like this one that they brought over. Mine should probably work in VR as well. So hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, a lot of the time when we do these negotiations with these studios, like not always, but oftentimes we have like something playable for them before we even start talking. Like on day one, here's your game in VR. Like we're going to do a lot more with it than this, but you can see it works, you know.
I think we already gave Dratseb a shout out, but we'll give him another one just in case. Dratseb, who sent one without parole gift membership. Thank you guys very much for all the generosity. We got Gecko Man 11, the Game Cat, with the level 2 membership, says, what do you guys think the chances are that the new 007 game will come to PSVR2? It's made by IO Interactive, the Hitman devs.
I think it's non-zero. I don't think the chances are great, honestly. Because let's be honest, you know, we're singing their praises now. This studio has been raked over the coals for years.
Yeah.
Because the original VR version of Hitman was not what people wanted it to be, and it was great, as great as it was. But you know how the VR community can be. Like a lot of times they focus and fixate on the things that aren't there, and overlook the things that are. So yeah, I mean, we have literally raped the studio with our words for many years, and I don't honestly see them. I don't see enough potential monetary gain for them to want to risk having to deal with that again. Now, with that said, they also have a lot of perspective now, and they have experience developing for VR now, and they might know that, you know, if they do bring this game to VR, that it's not going to have the same issues that Hitman 3 did when they brought it over. So maybe they consider it to be something low lift, another way to monetize the title and the IP. And you know, at that, who's to say that Sony or Meta or someone doesn't just step up and pay them to bring it into VR? You know, that very well could happen as well. So I wouldn't exactly call it 50-50, but there's a chance. There's a non-zero chance that it comes to VR, but I wouldn't call it likely.
I'm going to be a little bit more optimistic than you are. Because I do think that, you know, we still don't have any behind the scenes stuff. We don't know exactly why Hitman was brought to PSVR2 after the horrible Quest version, after the, you know, the DualShock version that we got on PlayStation VR1, which was still good. Why they keep trying? Why, we don't know. What are the reasons? Did PlayStation pay them for the PSVR2 version? That's my only guess. That's the only thing that really makes sense. But boy, did they kill it, right? So they've got all of this knowledge that you've talked about. They've kind of perfected the first person VRAF interactions, and it's not like 007 is some different kind of game. It's a very similar type of game. So they're dealing with very similar type of gadgets and interactions and worlds. And so I'd be a little bit more positive about it. And I would say it's probably 60-40, 70-30, that type of thing. So I'm leaning towards it happening. But again, yeah, if Sony stepped up and was like, bring it to PSVR 2, I think that's where the deal is done and signed and you're good to go. But
yeah, there is always that possibility. Like if they're building it in the same engine that they built Hitman in, then it could be one of these situations like we see with Resident Evil, where they're all developed in re-engine, and like, you know, they can get it up and running in VR in 6 months. You know what I mean? So like if it turns out to be something like that, then they very well could go for it for sure.
Yeah, I think so. But we shall see. We got Looper the Underground Game Cat with a €5, says the last top 30. Oh, here we go. The Looper's got the stats for us. Here we go. The last top 30 contains 19 games from 2023, 8 from 2024, and 3 from 2025. It was before Into Black, but I think you get the idea. So what Looper is insinuating here, I believe, is that the quality of games is getting worse as time goes on, as far as our top 30 lists are concerned. And I hope very much that our next top list that comes out changes all of this.
So So my answer to this would be very similar to what I said when we compared the two lists earlier. I think that makes sense. I think that tracks. I think if it were a top 100 and not a top 25, that you would see a lot more numbers from 2024 and 2025 on that. Um, so again, we're getting a lot more like good games now, whereas maybe we had a lot less good games before, but more great games, if that makes sense.
Looper in the chat says, not at all my point. He says, my point is, which I shouldn't be surprised about in the slightest. Anytime we're trying to like have a conversation with a few characters from the chat, it's always tough. Because my point is, we tend to forget how great the launch year was. I don't forget that at all. Dude, launch day alone was just overwhelming. Right, there was like 40 games or something at launch. Considering the PSVR 1 games that were brought over, and Horizon Call of the Mountain, and Gran Turismo 7, and Resident Evil Village. No, I mean launch day alone populates so much of what you see on a top 30 list. But you're right, launch was great.
Yeah, I think probably the best year that VR's had in general. I think was 2023. I mean, maybe like. There's an argument for 2017 or something. But yeah, 2023 was awesome.
I love when Looper ends the tip by saying, I think you get the idea. And then I proceed to not get the idea at all. Oh man. What else we got? I like this is a fun chat today. What else you guys got? Dead Ringer, the Game Cat with the $5 says, thanks for ensuring my commute home sucks just a little bit less. Also, what was the thing I was supposed to say to you, Dead Ringer? Oh right, fuck off. That doesn't make sense to anybody. Yep. Except he left a comment. He says, you can tell me to fuck off, but, and this is just my response to his comment. So fuck off.
Fuck off. Listen, but
let me enlighten you, Wes. Let me enlighten you what happens every time I upload a goddamn Bryan bite, Wes.
Please.
Somebody, without question, will always say, I don't know why you didn't call it Bryan Bite with a BYTES instead of Bryan Bites, BITES. Without question, without exception, every time I upload a Bryan Bite, somebody goes, these should be Bryan Bites, BYTES. I just don't know what to do anymore. I just don't know what to do anymore.
You can't win, bro.
Yep.
You can't win. If you do it the other way, then people would just be telling you to do it this way. It's just like
it's already got so many meanings, Wes. It already means it's a small bite, right? Rather than a full review, right? It's got me chomping on pizza at the beginning, right? And I get mom nom nom. But even beyond that, I was trying to go for a Kill Tony thing, right? Where it's like Bryan sucks. That's the third meaning. Bryan bites, right? And I was like, you really want to add a fourth meaning to this? and then destroy the stuff I was going for initially? Yeah. So fuck you, Dead Ringer. Fuck off.
No, I think it's good. I do think that it's cool that you have a means now to kind of address these shit titles that come up on the store without having to put them on Front Street, like on a GAMESCAST or something. And or, obviously you would never do a full review for some of these games, but it's a good way to tell people, hey, this is not worth your time without like just taking 20 minutes and raking it over the coals. Right.
Right. Or things like, Wallace and Gromit, which I just did a Bryan bite for. It's a 90-minute game or less. And the last thing I want to do is do a 7-minute review and show off way too much of the game, right? I don't want to spoil shit for people. I only chose scenes from the first half of the game. And sometimes just don't have that much to say. And sometimes, like I keep saying that I'm going to review Space Stalker VR. And I honestly think Space Stalker VR is a 3 out of 3 pause. I think that is a game everyone should try. It is super polished, and it's just this unique experience for PSVR2. But I don't have much to say about it. So there will be things that I'll be using Bryan bites like that for as well. So not just games that suck, all sorts of games.
Does the Wallace and Gromit game ever get any like challenge to it? I didn't watch your Brian Bite, by the way. Sorry about that.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Really love the support, Wes. No, it's okay. I don't watch AJ's channel, so it's all good. There's puzzles that I think some people would consider like something. I don't think they'd be considered really challenging. The puzzles basically tell you what to do. The only way you can screw it up is if you're just not observant.
Yeah. See, because of my very quick impression, having played like 10, 15 minutes of it, was it was very reminiscent of I Expect You to Die, the way the thing kind of operates and the way the thing kind of looks. But the puzzles were just like 5-year-old puzzles, right? Like find things, look around, so I was hoping that maybe there would be some challenge that come along before the credits roll.
No, and sadly the mini games, there's like a whack-a-mole one. There's one where you're just hitting golf balls and trying to hit these balloon type things. They're all, you can't fail them, right? And I was like, oh, maybe I'll want to go back and replay these for a high score. Which I think it does keep track of your high score, but there's no online leaderboard. So I'm like, who am I doing this for? Not myself. Why would I do this for myself? This is dumb. Okay, Eclipse DJ. Listen. Hey, hold on a second. Time out. Listen, Eclipse DJ, I like you. Okay? Every time I see an Eclipse DJ comment, I like you. So you take that fucking shit back. No, Bryan Bites not with a Y. I'm sorry. You can tell it's a slow day when I'm manufacturing outrage about Bryan Bites.
I think it's real outrage.
You think it is? Yeah, you think I'm getting some shit off my chest that like maybe is some pent up aggression?
No, it's real outrage on their part. I don't think you care at all, honestly.
I kind of don't, but I love the conversation. Oh my god, we got to get caught up on these tips here. Wait a minute. What happened? All right. Dienst man 75. Welcome to level 1 membership. Hell yeah. We got Looper again with the €5. Says, but if we only take Q4, oh jeez, he's good. How does he come up with these stats, man? This would take me a week to figure out. He said, but if we only take Q4, which is what we were doing earlier, it's 3.5 from 2023. I counted Red Matter, Arizona Sunshine 2, and RE4 is half each because they're in bundles. And 5 from 2024. Oh God. All right. Well, use your power of deduction to figure out how many will be from 2025. I'm so confused right now. Strike the. Yeah.
And honestly, I think it's going to be one of these situations where I think like you and AJ and Miles are going to probably overrate some of these games that are going to be good games. But and I'm going to be fighting for the 2023 titles and failing for the most part.
Well, heads up, everybody. The next list will be uniquely geared toward my favorites because there's no way I can organize a Parole board to do a fucking 7-hour debate and then spend 20 hours editing in the middle of all this chaos. So the next video you get from me, the next top 25 or 30 or 50 or whatever it ends up being is going to be decided by me. I'm the decider. I'm the one making the list. And so it's going to be a uniquely without Parole list that is not at all, influenced by my co-hosts who have
hubris.
worse taste in games than I do.
The hubris of you to sit here and say things that George W. Bush once said. I'm the decider. Like, okay, bro, you're the decider.
Right. Tommy 78 says, well, yeah, as every so often it's going to be about me. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. The whole thing is about me. It's one big ego trip. I even named my reviews after me. Nom. Tommy says, will we see a Sweet Surrender review before launch? Can't wait because I love to shoot robots. I'm playing it now. The plan is to have a review ready for whatever their embargo is. I have no idea what it is. I can't keep up with all the different embargoes. And so yeah, there will be coverage for sure. And I think it should be a full-fledged review. I don't think I'll do a Bryan Bite on it. But
I was actually kind of hopeful that that we were allowed to talk about that one today, although I knew that we wouldn't be. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back in that one. It's had so many updates since I played it, and I liked it before. So,
yeah. Quest, where'd you play it?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Quest. Well,
got it.
It could have been Steam. I don't know. Maybe it was Steam. It could have been, even if it was on Steam, it could have been a Quest game. Like it's cell shaded, and I don't expect. I mean, other than the typical, dynamic shadows and light, I expect it to be very similar experience to the Quest version. So.
Runs at 90 native on base PS5 and 120 native, I believe, on PS5 Pro. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what they did. And what did they say? I think the last email I got from them, they said they just decided to ditch the DFR and ditch the even the fixed foveated rendering. They're like we got the resolution up so high that like we're fine. And I was like, oh well, that's not great from a marketing perspective, but it'll be fine. I am worried that
sometimes the DFR breaks things.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, and I'm very susceptible to that stuff. I'm susceptible to frame rate drops. I'm susceptible to worlds shaking a little bit, and so that is probably what they're referring to. Probably saying it's, a little jittery sometimes. Some people don't see it at all, and so for those people, I'm like, well, that's awesome. But I see everything. Yeah, so I'm a little bit concerned that Sweet Surrender will get swept under the rug. Not from Without Parole. Like I do think that there'll be a video featuring it, but I am concerned that there's just gonna be so many games that people are excited about that don't look cell shaded, that don't look like a Quest game, that like this might not get the love that it deserves. But we'll see what happens. I'm always surprised by you guys out there. Stike, the Signosis Game Cat, sent 20 Without Parole gift memberships. Dude, 20 is an insane amount. Wait, he got one.
Thank you.
Wait, did it send one to you? Is that what happened? Did you give away 20 Without Parole memberships and one of them got sent to you, Stike? Because he also just achieved level 1 membership. That'd be awesome. It randomly selected, and it randomly selected you as well. GameCat, specifically a White Tiger with the Canadian $2, says, if it matters, Madison PSVR2 has 9 times the ratings of the Quest 2 and 3 version. I think it would matter more if they came out on the same day, right? Because
not over that, like I think it was much more heavily promoted for PSVR2. I think it launched very quietly on Quest for whatever reason. I think there's still a lot of people out there that don't even know that game is on Quest. So yeah.
Because I remember it being announced and then I never heard anything about it. Did you ever play it? Does it look like, because it looks so good on PSVR 2? Have you checked it out on Quest?
I think that may have been one of the ones that fell during our blackout. And if that's the case, I think we need to maybe cover that on our next episode, because we're focusing heavily on horror games next time. So yeah, maybe we headline with Madison.
Oh man, everyone in the chat is telling me how gift memberships work.
I don't remember playing it. And I think I would. So yeah, I guess we probably didn't.
It's just one of those games that like really takes advantage of everything the PSVR 2 has to offer, right? Like it just looks stunning in the headset. The OLED blacks are like, I mean, that's 90% of the game. Like you're in a very dark environment so frequently that so often the corners of the room you're in are just pitch black. And then anytime Luca has the brain thing happen, right? Anytime that triggers some cool headset haptics.
So Looper says we did cover it. I swear I don't remember covering it. I don't remember playing it at all.
Bro, what would we do without Looper? This is crazy.
My channel would be dead if it weren't for Looper and D. Like seriously, probably wouldn't be doing episodes at all anymore.
Atomic Teapot, the Game Cat Rare says, with the Australian 5, says, another day closer to the sequel to the greatest VR game ever, Demeo. The second sequel.
I'm looking forward to this battle mark more and more, man. I kind of felt bad after we did the segment earlier, the way I kind of just blew by it like it wasn't a top tier release. Demeo is one of the best titles in the VR catalog, and I think that this version of Demeo, and let's be honest, I could care less about the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I'm not a fan. I never have been. I don't really care about that. What I do care about is I think that some of the shortcomings of Demeo are going to be addressed here, and this is going to be like a more story focused thing with more like open levels versus the more enclosed levels that we had with the first one. I think this is going to be a proper improvement upon what is already one of the best games in the VR catalog. So I'm pretty excited for it.
Man, I still gotta play Demeo Battles. I don't even. It's just so much. It's just so much. I never and then famously never reviewed Demeo, the first one, because it was a launch title. Again, what an amazing launch we had, and it's a lot, man. It's a lot, and so I don't know. I feel like maybe I need to make one video that sort of covers all three games because I don't want to do three reviews that are kind of all the same. Maybe making one video that points out the differences between each version. Maybe that would be the way to go about it. But glad you're looking forward to that Atomic Teapot. That is a game I think that constantly gets just I don't know, just not ignored, right? But when we talk about all the different games that are coming this season and blah blah blah, just I don't even mention it. Mostly because I guess we've all played Demeo before, so we kind of know what to expect. Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. All right, Wes, we got to get to another topic here. As much as I love talking to the chat, we'll get back to you. We'll get back to the tips, but we want to make sure that we don't fall way too far behind today, as we normally do. Interesting discussion happening about Trenches VR, Wes. Perp announced literally the day before launch. They announced yesterday that it would be delayed on PSVR2, which sucks, right? I need something to get me into the Halloween spirit. I need something to get me into the spooky season. And I really thought that Trenches was going to be the one, mostly because I was like, well, maybe I'll just live stream it. Maybe that'll be my coverage. And I was kind of excited to live stream something, and then it got delayed. So there's a couple different ways we can take this. Let's start, Wes, with you and your impressions of the actual full released game that you played on Steam.
That's correct. Yes. I have access to the Quest version. I haven't checked it out on Quest yet. I will be checking it out on Quest ahead of Sunday's episode. But today we checked it out on Steam. And I got to say, I went into this with about as low of expectations as I could possibly have. Obviously, we talked about it last week, coming off of the demo, and while the demo doesn't really let you play the core game, it does let you see enough to where you can tell, or at least get a good idea, what the game's going to be. And for the most part, last week's speculation is pretty spot on in terms of the scope of the game and the format, so on and so forth. Since then, I talked to someone who had played the Quest version of it, the full release, and they basically told me it was dog shit and it wasn't worth my time.
Oh,
So at that moment, I was just like, crap. Well, so much for that. Like, I was hoping it would at least be decent, even if it is on kind of a small scope, at least be fun, right? So I went into this just to give it a look, do my due diligence here. I literally like requested these keys, and 15 minutes later, this person told me it wasn't worth my time. So I was like, well, shit, I got to cover it now. I asked for the key. Anyway, I get into it today with zero expectations, and I got to say I'm pleasantly surprised with the quality of the experience. It is what we thought it was. Essentially, you're being released into this maze of trenches, and you have to find your way through the maze after you collect what they're calling fetuses, dead fetuses, but
oh,
they're like
fun.
full grown babies. So it's actually just dead babies. You're following the cries to collect dead babies, and once you get enough dead babies, you can leave the maze. Um, Everything I said last week holds this week. You find knives to open up new areas of the maze by cutting barbed wire. You do find a handgun, but the handgun doesn't kill the monster that's stalking you. It just slows it down. So if you're running away from it, you could pop a couple bullets in it and run away. And like any proper stealth game, it's very audio focused. You don't want to make noise stepping on things. Um, you can distract it by throwing things in another direction. And if your microphone, if you have it enabled and in the settings, your uh, your mic will pick up, you talking or making noise in real life, and the monster can hear that as well. Although I don't think that that's coming to PSVR2, because I read like a bullet point today that said that that's only on Quest and Steam. So
Weird.
like, yeah, but so yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. But so yeah, I mean, no real surprises in terms of what the game is. Um, what I was a bit surprised is the um, the kind of minute to minute tension that they're able to build in the game, and very much expecting this to be a game in the vein of Dread Halls, but not quite on that level. And I wouldn't say that it is on the level of Dread Halls, but it's closer than I expected it to be because the audio design is really, really good as it is in Dread Halls. And there are so many jump scares.
Oh,
Um, yeah, like there are constant jump scares almost in this game. And a lot of the time that can be off-putting because if the game's constantly trying to jump scare you, then it's not a surprise and you don't get scared. But they do it in a number of different ways. I guess the game calls it hallucinations, right? The more time you get in there and the more scared you get, the more hallucinations it says that you have. But there's like it's everywhere. Like you'll just be walking down one of these corridors and you'll see a shadowy figure in the corner of your eye peeking at you from around the next corner. You'll just catch it really quickly, and by the time you lock eyes on it, it's gone. I love stuff like that. Um, you'll constantly see like apparitions, and those are not subtle like the shadowy figures peeking at you. These things will run at you and scream like super loud. You'll have insects that'll end up crawling across the visor of your face. Suddenly that's can be startling at times. And then even things like um, objects in the areas that you're walking down, buckets or bottles or shoes or just whatever happens to be laying around, will oftentimes like move on their own, like in a very um, in a very striking way and with audio to kind of help drive the jump scare home. So you know a garbage can will get flipped over and then there'll be a big wong or something like that to kind of scare you. So there's lots of stuff like that, and again the audio design being creepy enough with the crying babies all the time, and you can constantly hear the monster walking around, so you know when it's getting close, but you don't know exactly if it's in your corridor or the one that's right over on the other side of the wall. Um, but I didn't play a ton of it. I played it for about a half an hour, 45 minutes. Um, but the scare level was surpassed my expectations, and the challenge level in general of the maze was enough that I feel like I want to go back and play more.
is there? Is it just what I'm showing here, or because this is footage from you playing today? Is there a lot of reading?
There's enough, man, and essentially what you're reading is I mean there are a few different things, but most of it is you're reading the story of some corpse or something that you come across because you're in the situation where like you and your squad mates have kind of got pinned down in these trenches by the enemy, and most of them have succumb to that, and you're kind of the one that's left trying to find your way out. And you're reading like a lot of letters to like family, things like
Mm.
that, saying goodbye, stuff like that, to just kind of reinforce the lore for the most part.
$10.
Did I
We're
find
talking.
the map, Looper asks? Yeah, I found the map the first time. I did 2 runs. I found the map the first time, but I lost it, and I don't know how I lost it. Um, I thought maybe that I had dropped it the last time I took it out to read it, but I went back to the spot where I had taken it out, and it wasn't there. So yes, I found the map and I lost it. And this game is significantly more difficult without the fucking map. Um, in fact, one of my only kind of suggestions or feedback for improvement of the game right now, if the developer sees this, is there should be a way for you to mark where you've been versus where you haven't been, because without the map, you're just basically wandering aimlessly, and you will. There are occasionally like things that you recognize that you can tell that you've been here before. But a lot of this stuff is very samey. So if you could mark the walls with your knife or anything, that would make it much less frustrating to kind of get around without the map.
Yeah, I think that was something that Cave Crave doesn't get enough credit for, right? Giving you like areas to just draw on the wall with chalk. And yeah, in a game like this, I think that would come in really, really handy. And this is you having the same problem that we had when you captured footage for the demo, right? Like this is very zoomed in, a very zoomed in
Yeah,
version of what you saw in the headset.
that's right. Yes.
All right, it's $10, you guys. No one expected this to be some kind of massive, massive release. I do think that if I can remember correctly, Steel Krill Studios, one dude, I think that's Ryan over there, Steel Krill, and so he is, desperately trying to get this thing through certification so it can be out on PSVR2. Very interested. I'm very interested. I like these kind of like weird titles, whether it was horror or not. I like games that sort of try to do something different. Sorry, lots of motorcycles on my end. I don't know what's happening. What day is today? It's not even Friday. Weird. Wu Bane in the chat says the Oregon Quarter map style would be nice. That was awesome. Oregon Quarter had the best map system because it was like a Silent Hill map that you could mark up however you wanted to. It's great.
Yep. Yeah. That was good.
All right, man. Well, thanks for checking this out. Sounds like a thumbs up based on your early impressions.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. For $10, it's sufficiently challenging. Looper in the chat said he played it for an hour and did a number of runs, but never made it past finding 6 out of 9 of the dead babies. In my 2 runs, I don't think I ever found more than 3 of them. So, yeah.
All right. So interestingly enough, our conversation about Trenches doesn't end today because the developer of Trenches. We're not going to spend all day on this, but I did want to bring it up because we always have our own complaints about the PlayStation Store. But the developer of Trenches has his own complaints about the PlayStation Store, and this was an angle that I was not expecting to hear. So over on Reddit, he posted this article here. Not this article. He wrote on Reddit. I'm going to bring it up on my own window so I can read it properly. He says, as a game developer, I'm disappointed in what the PlayStation Store has become. My game was stolen. AI shovelware floods the store, and it's getting harder for smaller devs. Here it's TLDR at the beginning. Just me ranting about the current state of the PlayStation Store. I've had my games stolen and sold there earlier this year. My latest project, a VR game that I've been working on since 2023, that was refused a separate VR page, was supposed to release tomorrow, but the PSVR2 version got delayed. Meanwhile, shovelware games keep getting approved without issue. He does say very nice things at the beginning. He's a lifelong fan of PlayStation. And he's saying have a couple of games available on the platform is like an incredible honor. He says this isn't meant as an attack. Is it meant to be an honest discussion about the current state of the PlayStation Store? So I think the thing, obviously it must be really frustrating, especially when you've got a publisher like Perp to work with, that you can't get a separate listing for the VR version of your game. Like, why not? That should be easy as pie. Especially if you're being charged, right? To my knowledge, Wes, I don't think that you get the VR version of Trenches for free if you have the flat screen version. So why the fuck can't he get a separate listing for it? That's issue number one.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's the first time I've ever heard anyone have this complaint. That's odd, man, for real. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
no idea. I have no insight to lend here. Like that does seem sketchy.
But he goes beyond this. And again, this is a long article, and so we're not going to read the whole thing. Where is the... Okay. Here we go. Back in February, I released my game, The Backrooms 1998, on consoles. Unfortunately, somebody ripped it, stole it, and released it there first. I'm guessing he means he took it off the PC store or wherever else he released it, and then ripped it off and brought it to PlayStation before he did. He says, it was basically stolen by one of these scam companies and sold as their own under a different title. To PlayStation's credit, they did remove the stolen version. However, in the end, the people who stole my game still benefited financially. They got paid, closed down the company, opened 10 others in a different name, and mostly probably have done the same there. PlayStation got paid. I, the original developer, received nothing. These companies operate by simply shutting down, rebranding under a new game, and repeating the same scheme over and over. Meanwhile, indie developers continue working tirelessly, struggling to gain visibility, while these people exploit the system. The saddest part to me is that they're allowed to do this, and that's exactly why they keep doing it. Scammers will scam. That's all they do. Why is this happening, PlayStation? Who's approving of these games? Why are real legitimate games getting it all? Why are real legitimate games getting it all hard, while shovelware gets approved instantly? We know what he's saying, though.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
It's a massive struggle for these games to get through the QA process, the certification process. Meanwhile, we get games like what was the first person shooter that just had the worst possible frame rate, or the Duck Hunt that was half broken. I mean, so many different examples. Or the truck driving game that I reviewed, that I did the Bryan Bite for,
Or
which again,
Space Imposter VR Among game.
yeah, right. That never came out, right? That studio got shut down, I think, because of Miles with Chris Payne Hero and Run or Die VR, right? So that we never even saw that game. But so the conversation that I think we like to have, Wes, is, well, who's the arbiter of what belongs on the store and what doesn't, right? We always go back to the story about To the Top, where Dan Dunham was denied allowing his game to be released, To the Top, a fantastic game, on the PlayStation Store just because somebody at Meta said no and didn't even give a reason, right? And so we're like, well, we'd rather have a bunch of shit come through the store and have to filter out the good from the bad, so so things like that never happen. This is I think where we draw the line, right? You say, where do you draw the line? And this is where we draw the line. All games should have to go through QA. And part of that QA is finding out whether the game actually belongs to the person who submitted it to the store. This is beyond embarrassing for the PlayStation Store.
On the other hand, how would they find that out, though? Like, if someone's took code and they changed the name of it, I mean, it's not like this is the most prominent game in the world that he's talking about here. This is likely something that released on Steam, very under the radar. How would Sony be able to find that out? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know, but the fact is, if I upload a video that's similar to somebody else's on YouTube, YouTube flags that shit immediately. I mean, you're telling me that there's got to be some kind of system for the PlayStation Store to go, man, the code for this looks really fucking similar to another game. I mean, I guess the Backrooms game wasn't even out on PlayStation, so they had nothing to compare it to.
Right. That's the thing, that the thief published it first on PlayStation.
Right. So super discouraging, and hopefully, you know, Sony starts cracking down on this stuff, because the thing is like I don't know, man. Like part of me still says like, well, I don't want, you know, these crappy shovelware games just to not be able to happen, right? Because every so often you play one and you're like, this is actually kind of fun, right? Or games like the one that came up recently, Supermarket CEO Simulator, that Miles has been helplessly addicted to for the better part of 3 weeks now, right? I assume that was shovelware. I totally assumed it was shovelware. I think it has like an AI generated, tile on the PlayStation Store. There's no trailer, there's nothing, and so you're just like, yeah, it's probably, you know, fucking crap. But he's having fun with it, just, you know, while acknowledging that it's a pretty terrible game. And so, like, you know, why would we want to take that away from him? So it's a really difficult situation to navigate, and I don't envy PlayStation, and I think PlayStation is taking the stance like, oh, well, you guys figure it out, right? Like,
Yeah,
they're taking no stance.
I think Ryan's larger complaint is that after these thieves are found out and they're delisted, it's very easy for them to just start a new company and come right back. And
Right.
I think that maybe PlayStation is a bit more culpable for allowing that to happen and not being able to kind of catch these guys. Like there are ways that they could detect these guys coming back and under a different name. Um, and it just doesn't seem like there's any desire to put a stop to it, or at
Right.
least from Ryan's perspective. That seems to be the case.
Oh no, Secrets of in the chat says a backrooms game, so he's basically copied someone else's idea. Which, I mean,
I gotta say that did cross my mind when I saw that. I was like, oh yeah, okay, your
yeah.
totally original backrooms game that you developed. Okay, gotcha.
Right. It doesn't excuse anything, right? The backrooms was what was that? What was the originator of that? Was that a creepypasta originally? I'm assuming it was. What's that?
I said I have no idea. I have no clue.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, definitely not an original idea, but still, you know, if you put time and effort into making a game, I just tried to download the trailer for it and whatever. Can't download any trailers today. YouTube, what are you doing to me? Yeah, so like not an original idea. However, we don't have any backrooms games in VR, and so my hope was that Trenches would do really well, you know, or good enough. I don't think it has to sell crazy on PSVR2 in order to be a success, but good enough where they're like, hey, this is a pretty good idea. We can sell more copies of our game, and then like bring the Backrooms 1998 onto PSVR2. We don't have any Backrooms games on PSVR2, but if you look through the Switch store or the PC store or anywhere else, there's like 1,000 of them. So yeah, not an original idea.
And just to kind of touch back on something that you mentioned a minute ago, I think everyone regrets the way that we lobbied the Meta Store to kind of open the floodgates and let these titles, you know, don't curate the store. When we thought that we would rather just have it be wide open so that games like To the Top wouldn't be left out, that was so wrong. They were curating it too heavily, but having it wide open has destroyed the VR market to the point that indie studio after indie studio are being shut down because nobody can be discovered on the biggest storefront anymore. Yeah, that was such a big mistake, and I think we would all love to walk it back now, but it's too late. You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Cerebral Frost, the SPVR cat, in the chat, by the way, the developer of To the Top, says making a derivative game based on another game is completely different from simply stealing a game by copying everything and then trying to sell that. No, we agree. It's just the tiniest, smallest little bit of irony in the conversation. That's all. Just, you know, kind of like a little giggle. Secret Sub says, can we get a Flappy Bird game on PSVR 2? We had one on PSVR 1. Remember that? It was called Leave the Nest.
Yeah, I forgot about that game.
Yep. Shit. Well, that ruins it. That was going to be today's 20 question game.
I would have not. I wouldn't have guessed it. So you win.
Perfect. Well, I guess we can just call it quits then. All right, let's see what else we got for tips, and then we can wrap this show up. I think we've covered everything we wanted to talk about today. Oh my god, the tip window is crashing again. We're gonna refresh that.
Thing works. The internet's slowly breaking down. That's the reason why I can't sign into the PlayStation Store on my console, and yeah, the reason why none of us can download trailers.
Right. Comic book, it's the dead internet. It's finally here. Comic book guy with the 5 quid says, out of interest, have you watched A Grand Night in... Hold on a second. Out of interest, have you watched A Grand Night in the story of Aardman? Good. Sorry, I always have trouble reading. If you haven't, it's available on their YouTube channel. I have not watched it. I don't know anything about Aardman, who are the creators, or I guess the animation studio behind Wallace and Gromit. So that would be really, really high on my list of things to do, because I love documentaries, and having just played Wallace and Gromit and watched a bunch of episodes. I keep calling them episodes. I don't think that's probably what they're called. They're probably called shorts or something. But this would be the perfect time for me to watch that. So thank you for the recommendation. A Grand Night In.
I'm not familiar. I've never really been a fan. I've seen the the IP, but I've never watched any of the content. So yeah, I don't know. I think my experience today was my first Wallace and Gromit experience ever.
That's crazy. See, I thought I know you didn't watch my Bryan BITE, but one of the first things I say is that, like, I thought that I'd never seen an episode of Wallace and Gromit. I thought it was a very British thing. That, like, I was like, oh, I've never seen this. Because I have seen Shaun the Sheep, and I saw Chicken Run, but I never saw Wallace and Gromit. I was wrong. I started watching Wallace and Gromit. I was like, wait, I know this. I've seen this before. This is really great. So I was very happy to find out that it was something I loved and just had forgotten about somehow. Wes, a question for you. Mark with the $2 says, have you played Deadpool on Quest 3, Wes?
No, I haven't. I know some people got to play demo at some of these like conventions and stuff. And I have not gone to any of the, like, I don't get to go to Gamescom. It's overseas and expensive. So no. And I probably won't get to play it until it launches because these meta titles, they typically don't send them the keys to people outside of the Quest Creator Program. And I've considered joining that program a number of times, and I always decide against it because there's a certain percentage of the audience that you lose credibility with to some extent when you affiliate yourself with a platform like that. And honestly, it's not what it used to be. You know, when they first opened it up, like, you had to sign papers saying that you wouldn't be too disparaging about the platform or anything like that. They don't do that anymore. They essentially just have a group of creators now that they distribute keys to, and then these guys can cover the game or not cover the game, and what they say is up to them. So honestly, I wouldn't mind being a part of that if it weren't for that false perception that would be kind of put on us if we were to join something like that. So I've always declined the opportunities as they've presented themselves, and I probably will continue to, which essentially means I won't get to play these meta exclusives until they launch, and I'll have to pay for them. Although I might be able to tag the dev studio, because I do have some pre-existing communications with them before Meta bought them. So, I mean, maybe I can make it work out that way.
Oh, right. These are the
Twisted Pixel.
Twisted Pixel. Yep. Man, oh man. Yeah, this looks decent. I've heard a lot of people say it's gonna
be fun.
Yeah. I know people will hate me for saying this. I can't get through a Deadpool movie if my life depended on it. I watched the first one. I was like, yeah, it was fun, right? But, like, man, that brand of humor where it's like breaking the fourth wall constantly and being like just that level of sarcasm. I'm like, bro, okay, enough is enough. So having to sit through like an 8-hour game sounds like torture to me. Although, but the game does look fun, right? If it was like any other superhero, I'd probably be way more excited about it. I'm the only one who thinks this way. Everyone else loves Deadpool.
Yeah. I haven't watched any of those Deadpool movies. I haven't watched most of the Marvel movies, but when I was in high school and in college, I was big into comic books, and Deadpool was one of my favorites. So I'm looking forward to it on that level.
We get a couple more tips, and then we're going to play the 4-minute challenge. We got Comic Book Guy with the 5 quid. What's up? Says, what IPs do you want added to Walkabout Mini Golf? For me, it would have to be The Simpsons. I know it's unlikely, but I'd love to go through The Simpsons house. Chime in the chat, you guys. I want to know what you're thinking.
That would be cool. Honestly, I'm very interested in the most recent Walkabout level that came out. The kind of like, it was like a haunted carnival or something like that. It looked cool.
Yeah. Oh, the most recent one. Sorry, the Forgotten Fairyland, I think it was called.
It's called. There's too many of them for us to cover them anymore. So, like, I just maybe twice a year we'll get in and check out one of them and get caught up on the ones that we missed. But in terms of IPs, I don't have to think about that. Like, there's so many great IPs, but how does that translate to mini golf? I don't know. I guess an obvious answer would be Dune, right? Like it would be a lot of sand traps and stuff, obviously, and worms in the ground. I don't know. What about you, Brian?
It's endless, right? I think the one that jumps out right now would probably be Alien. I think it'd be so cool to putt through a xenomorph infested spaceship or something, space station. Who knows? But I want everything. Ooh, Ren and Stimpy would be good. Beavis and Butthead. Oh man, can you imagine having the Beavis and Butthead art style in Walkabout? That'd be so great.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Nick Mueller says BioShock. Yeah, that's very good point. Prozac, Happy Gilmore. Scooby-Doo, Corey reviews. Good one. Damn.
Caddyshack. If we're going to do a Happy Gilmore, might as well do Caddyshack.
Yeah, right? But I'll take anything they have to throw at me. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it until it's not true. I honestly think that Mighty Coconut has leveled up in their course design, not just the detail that they put into the environments, but also just the courses themselves. I think that Forgotten Fairyland is probably in my top 10 favorite courses, and Tokyo might have actually pushed El Dorado and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea out of number 1 first place for me. I think Tokyo might be my favorite. So I think they're just killing it over there. And so I know, for people like you and me who are trying to cover everything, it's easy to be like, well, we'll just not do this right now. But I hope that's not what's happening with the fans as well. I hope the fans are staying on top of it and buying all the new DLC so that we can keep seeing more DLC for Walkabout for years to come.
I don't know. I'm of two minds with it. Obviously, it's a great title, and it deserves support. But I've kind of got that same attitude toward it now that I had toward Super Hot in kind of the latter years of PSVR 1 and early years of PSVR 2. Is like, as long as people keep buying copies of Super Hot, there will never be a Super Hot sequel. And like, I want a leveled up version of Walkabout Mini Golf that's not playable on Quest 1. You know what I mean? Like, I want some. Don't get me wrong, they do a great job with what they have here, and the courses look good for what they are. But I would love a more highly detailed version of Walkabout Mini Golf. It wouldn't have to be photoreal or anything, but certainly something more in line with modern VR versus what we have right now.
Is anyone else in the chat stuck on, if they keep selling Super Hot, we'll never get a Super Hot 2? I'm so stuck on this. Like, I get what you're saying with Walkabout being like, if people stop buying the DLC, maybe we'll get like Walkabout 2 and like we can get the fan base back and be like, get excited about it again and be like, oh, hey, here's a more realistic version, blah, 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 whatever it is. But no, I don't understand the Super Hot one. It was like,
Well, this is something that we said for years because every time we saw a top sales chart, Superhot would be in the top 3 or 4 titles, like
right,
long after its time.
right.
And but every year when like there would be a showcase or something come up, people would speculate, well, maybe we're going to get another Superhot, and I'm like, why in the world would we ever get another Superhot? Because they're just people are still buying Superhot. Why would they do a sequel? So,
Because they
obviously
know
maybe
it's
that
something a lot of people want, like played, bought, loved, and want more of. I don't. Yeah, I don't. Oh, so only in wait. So based on this logic, if Super Hot sold worse, we might have gotten a sequel to it already.
not so worse, but like, for example, like, wouldn't like a new Beat Saber be kind of a no-brainer at this point? Like it's like literally the biggest VR game of all time. Why do you think we haven't seen one? It's because we don't need to see one because people
That's
keep
true,
buying Beat Saber and people keep buying DLC.
right?
That's kind of the logic is that
But that's why I don't. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm harping on and on about this. My autism fucking focused right on this, and it was like this is all we're going to talk about now.
sure.
If Superhot had the same business model as Beat Saber and Walkabout, I totally understand what you were saying, right? Whereas like, hey, you're buying DLC and they're constantly adding to the game and adding to the game and adding to the game, right? But that wasn't really what was happening. We got a couple updates like for free updates, but like, man, I think most people out there, and I could be wrong about this, would have bought Superhot 2 VR in a heartbeat, and it would have been up there high on the sales charts as well. Or if they gave us the original Superhot with a VR mode, that would have sold really well too. I don't know, man. I feel bad. I don't know why I'm so stuck on this right now.
Well, to answer kind of your premise here, the times the period in time that I was harping on this was kind of that Quest 2 pop, right? Where there were so many new players coming into VR, and the potential for next year's sales at that point eclipsed last year's. So like if you were to release a Super Hot sequel, like a better version of Super Hot at that point, you're
Yeah.
potentially killing out sales for your finished work that you've already done. I'm not saying
Okay.
don't do it. I'm saying that they would hold it in their back pocket until they've kind of reached a certain saturation in the market. So that's kind of the idea.
I
If
got
that
it.
makes
I
any
got
sense
it.
to you.
100%. And that like it finally clicked when you said that. I was like, okay, I got it. Yeah, usually because it's very seldom, I guess, in the VR spaces. I guess maybe we're just seeing more people buy. It just takes longer for people to buy headsets than it does for them to buy consoles. I just don't. We don't see the same games charting again and again and again and again and again unless it's like Minecraft and Grand Theft Auto. Years later, for on the flat screen. That we do on VR. So yeah, I guess we do have like a weirdly unique situation here, I think.
Yeah, and it's all flipped on its head now. Like the market is not anything that it used to be at all anymore. We're very much for all the good that standalone VR has brought. The kind of false beliefs that the Quest 2 kind of subsidization brought into the market has now we're seeing the damage from it now. Like it brought VR into the mainstream, and it showed people what the possibilities are for the for the technology. But having it come out at such a low price point set false expectations for what the store and making it more about social content and casual games has drowned out any kind of marketplace for premium games anymore. Like it's doing, they've done real damage now. That I'm hoping that something happens. Everyone's hoping that something happens in the next couple of years to kind of reverse some of it because it is pretty dire out there right now.
Yep. So if I'm really really hoping that Sony is willing to, just really slice the price of PSVR2 this holiday season, right? Just get that headset into more people's hands, right? And they're coasting. They're totally coasting with PSVR2, right? Not really having, they're reliant so heavily on third parties, but the third parties are kind of killing it, right? No one can say, and if you do say this and you're out of your mind, no one can say we don't have a ton of great games on the way, with a great, ton of great announcements, even with Microsoft Flight Simulator next year. It's crazy. And so they can coast. All they got to do is get more headsets into more people's hands. And I hope they're willing to take the loss and cut that thing down to just like a price point that it just isn't a question, right? Bring it down to $250 and just make sure that everyone who's ever thought of buying one just goes, okay, now is the time, obviously.
Yeah. 250 with the standalone headset, 300 with the game bundled in. Meet the Quest price point if you want to compete,
Yeah, exactly. And that would just be, I think within a couple months that would change the landscape of VR gaming very quickly, right? Just like suddenly we have all these people looking for premium VR games on one of the largest platforms. They just announced today that PlayStation 5 has outsold PlayStation 3. That's pretty impressive, man, especially considering that PlayStation 3 launched at such a high price point and took them years to get their footing back, right? That was not a great, especially the first half of that generation, not a great time for Sony. And so the fact that we're already surpassing PlayStation 3 sales figures for the console means that there's a huge potential market for PSVR2 gamers, untapped market. All right, what are we missing here? We gotta make sure we get the rest of these tips. We don't want to ignore anybody. I'm highlighting stuff, all sorts of things popping up. We got Grandpa's Barbecue or Game Cat with the Australian $5 says, Wes, no one wants to talk to me today. Wes, do you know the difficulties in bringing a game, e.g. RE7, from PSVR to PSVR2?
Honestly, I think in some ways. Well, no, I was going to say it would probably be easier to do that than some like PSVR1 games, it's all about. I don't think either of them would be too difficult, honestly. And the only reason I say that is because the big the big thing that you would need to do is make it full on VR with motion controls, right? And I know that that's not hard because modders did it on PC. You can play Resident Evil 7 right now on PC with full motion controls, and it works great. Um, so I don't honestly, I don't think there would be much difficulty in it at all if they wanted to do it. I think if there's anything holding them back from doing it, it's that they have already on their timeline doing the remake of 7, and like why are they going to put any attention into kind of doing anything else with the original RE7 right now when like in 2 or 3 years they'll probably be working on the remake anyway, and they can just bring that to the VR. But in terms of difficulties, I don't think there would be much difficulty at all to do that. Is 7 playable on PS5? Like like flat? Yeah. They could do that in a heartbeat if they wanted to.
Yeah, I'm honestly curious how, a whole other conversation. So I'm just gonna, I'm just not even gonna bring up what I was gonna say because we got to kind of move on here.
Sure.
Man, but I do have a lot of questions about that. Alhambra D2Y Underground Stranger Game Cat with the $2 tip says, just got here. What do you guys think of Galaxy XR? This is another question for Wes, apparently. I don't know what the fuck Galaxy XR is.
I haven't been following it very closely. I do think I read a headline today that said that they're not going to be focused on gaming, and yeah. So I honestly I don't care. I love VR, and I am curious about all the bells and whistles and the new tech and the future use cases for VR and things other than gaming. But for me, for now, all I really care about is high quality VR gaming experiences. And if the Samsung headset isn't going to be focusing on that, then I really just don't care about it.
Who said it in the chat? Bitmappy says Apple making the controllers 250 quid has messed up getting PSVR2 for 250 quid. Or during a Black Friday sale, did they just make it that much more appealing to just buy a fucking PSVR2 headset to all those people who wanted a set of Sense controllers for their Apple Vision Pro? And they're like, well, hold on a second. For the same price, basically, I can just get a PSVR2 headset and the controllers. I don't think it ruins the prospect of a Black Friday sale, Bitmappy. But I do, obviously it changes things as far as like just a permanent price cut. That's probably out of the question for the time being.
Probably so, because Sony worked with them on setting that price point, and if Sony had any designs on cutting the headset down to anywhere near that, then they wouldn't have set it where it's at. So.
Is that, hold on a second, is that it? Did we tackle all the tips? We tackled all the tips. Oh my God, you guys were generous today. Thank you so much for all the donations. Wes, let's play a 4-minute challenge before more tips roll in. You guys know how this works. You guys know how this works. So I've got a PSVR 1 or PSVR 2 game in my little head, and it's up to you guys and Wes to figure out what game that is. You get an infinite number of questions, yes or no questions to ask, but only 4 minutes to ask them in. Make sure you ask good questions. And then based on the answers you get, suggest good games that it might be. Because this is harder than it looks, isn't it, Wes?
It's so hard.
Yeah, it is. We already broke the winning streak on Monday, so I have no qualms about making this one difficult.
Okay.
All right,
that's great.
Let's go. On your mark. Get Des. Whoop, sirens on my end. We're just going to roll with it. Go.
Is this game on PSVR 2?
No.
I already knew that.
Yeah.
Is this game on other VR platforms?
Yes.
Quest?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's on Steam, so I'm going to look up the Quest one.
So you already answered my next question. So
yeah.
On Steam, maybe on Quest.
Is not on Quest. I just looked it up.
Okay, PSVR 1 and Steam. Can you play it flat?
No.
No, you can't play it flat. Is it based on a known IP?
No.
Are there multiplayer elements?
No.
Multiplayer. Is it a first person title?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Is there full locomotion?
Yes.
Is it a puzzle game?
Yeah. Yep.
So this is a first-person puzzle game with full locomotion, no quest support. Is it a good game?
It's okay. It's not bad, but it's not great.
Okay. Has this developer did other PlayStation VR games?
Ooh, that's a good question. Keep asking questions, and I will find out the answer.
Okay. Would you say that this is a horror game?
I think that's what it wants to be, yes. So let's go with yes. And I just looked up the developer, and I don't see any other PSVR2 games, or PSVR games.
So this is a horror puzzler that's kind of okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But not based on an IP. Does this have would you say that it has a unique locomotion control scheme?
Not a unique locomotion control scheme. Why did I say it like that? I feel like I'm giving stuff away. That is not the part of this game that's unique.
Not the part of the game that's unique. Okay. Got you. Would you call the art style like realistic?
No.
So this is a cartoony then.
Mm-hmm.
So, no.
This might be the part that's unique. It is.
The art style is unique. All right.
Let's call it simplistic more than cartoony. How about that?
Okay, so simplistic art style. whatever that means. Um, is there like a sci-fi element to it?
No, not beyond like the horror stuff. Like I don't think it's sci-fi connected.
So it's more of a just a standard horror game then.
Okay, 45
Um,
seconds.
i- is there combat in the game?
No.
Stealth?
A little stealth, I think. A little, if I remember correctly.
The so you can die in it then, I would assume.
I think so. Yeah. Listen, it's been a long time since I played this one, but yeah, I think so.
Good call. So is it
10
mostly black and
seconds.
white?
Yes.
Um, shit,
5
how can I
seconds.
differentiate? Do you yeah, how do you is it blind, Brian? It's
Wow.
stifled, isn't it, motherfucker? Is it which one was it?
Coming out all the way back September 18th, 2018. It is, in fact, blind.
Yes.
It was this or stifled, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to think of how we could differentiate the two, and I didn't have enough time to think that through, so I just had to go with one.
Good job, man. Yeah, there's way more stealth stuff going on in Stifled. I thought that's what was going to help you out. Oh, yep.
Thank you. I think it was Looper. Thank you, whoever it was that said that first. Awesome.
Good stuff. The winning streak resumes. We are up to 1.
Back to one in a row, baby.
Yep. Yeah, this I remember there only being like one real enemy in this game, and I don't think there was ever any combat, and I don't. There might have been a tiny bit of stealth, but Stifled was all stealth. So maybe somebody can help me out.
I vaguely remember these games, but you're right. It's the art, and the concept behind it is what makes it memorable. So.
Yeah, for sure. And man, like that art style thing was like, I don't fucking know. Like it's wireframe, right? So it's not cartoony, but it's trying to be realistic, but with outlines. Craziness. Tough one to answer.
Bad vision.
Prozac with the level 2 membership says, Brian, if I recall correctly, you said you want to create your own VR horror game. Yes. If you don't name it Sirens on My End, what the fuck are we even doing here? Yeah, this whole thing started with Dreams. Dreams is when I was like, oh man, like I've got the ability, I've got the tools in my hands to make my own VR horror game. And it was just, I mean, you guys, so much of my week is spent on Without Parole that spending more time in VR to create my own horror game that no one was ever going to play. It just seems like an impossible task. But I would love to, at the very least, like script a horror game someday.
Yes.
And
See,
kind of
this is
sketch out the
exactly where I am.
environments. Yeah, and then hand it to a capable developer and be like, this is my idea for a horror game. I want it to be the scariest motherfucking thing anybody's ever played. It would be so similar to Madison, right? Because I'd be so centered on making it a good story on top of it being terribly scary. But that's as far as I could ever go with it. Sirens on My End would be a fucking fantastic name for it, though. I love it.
I've got concepts. I've had concepts for a couple of different horror games for years. But it would take a significant like budget and team to kind of build what I'm thinking of. Because it has to be realistic and it has to be immersive. And I don't understand why more studios don't fucking go for it. Like if you want to do a legendary horror game, you have to put horrific shit in it, right? Like I've got ideas that would send motherfuckers to therapy. So I know why they don't want to do it, but like we're in a new age,
Yeah.
We're in a new age where like people have played the Silent Hill clones and the Resident Evil clones 50 times over now. Let's do something new with the genre and let's scare some people.
Looper says Silence on My End, which is a better
There you
name,
go.
I think. Yep. Looper also says about Blind, saying first time this one was ever picked, but Blind Spot was
Wow.
picked twice. I think think there was a running gag on the channel for a while that I just loved Blind Spot, and I thought I'd picked Blind Spot like 5 times for 20 questions, but I guess not. It's only been picked twice. How did this only get? This is the first time we're making history here, Wes. How is this possible?
Yeah, I don't know, man. We're still doing firsts from the PSVR1 catalog. That's pretty awesome. It should tell you something about that catalog. Lots of games.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Thank you all so very much for being here today. This was a fun show. Got to kind of kick back and shoot the shit, hang out with Wes, talk about some news, but also just talk to you guys. And those are my favorite kind of shows. A little mix of everything. We definitely have to start making some Halloween plans. I have no idea what the plan is for Halloween proper, but man, I would absolutely love to get the whole Parole board together for some kind of stream if we can make the time for it. We'll keep you posted if that becomes a possibility. I know we're all insanely busy right now for various reasons. But thank you everybody who supports the channel financially over on patreon.com/withoutparolegames, or by being a member over here, or by tipping during the show. You guys are keeping the lights on, and boy, is that light bright today. But even if you don't tip, if you're just here, hanging out, shooting the shit, being part of this community, being over on Discord with us, that's what we care about most of all. This community is the best community of all communities, of all any community that's ever community ever. Or if you sit back, watch the show, don't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there. We love you just as much. Happy Wednesday, Wes.
Happy Wednesday, Brian. Happy Wednesday, cats. See you soon.
Let's go. Oh man, I forgot that we were supposed to do we had so much to talk about on today's show that I was prepping for so long before the show, and then completely forgot that we do a This Week in Without Parole history at the end of these things. Here, let me see if I can't bring one up really fast here. What are you doing tonight, Wes? You gonna play any games? What are you doing? You got some work to do?
Probably. I do have work to do. I'll probably call it off a little bit early tonight. So we've got a lot to cover on Sunday. In fact, that's one of the things I'm going to be doing this evening is setting the agenda for the next episode. So because we got a lot, we've got too much probably, and I need to narrow that down a little bit.
Nice. I like agendas.
It's got the key for Thrasher on Steam. You know, from the Thumper devs. And it's supposedly got a big visual upgrade. So I'm looking forward to that one. Pretty big. It's cool that I'm getting this in kind of the same window that we're expecting to get Luminous, which I'm looking forward to very much for a lot of similar reasons.
All right, here we go. All the way back in 2021. So silly. Huge update on Stride. Rumor, PSVR2 backwards compatible. If only. If only. Listen, this was an interesting era. This PSVR1 was still kind of kicking. Stride was coming. This is crazy. The headset should have been dying out, but instead we were kind of still getting some great games. And I do have to say, the developers of Skyleap that we talked about a couple episodes ago, I even headlined with it. They got in touch with me. It is being in fact developed by Zocus as we kind of sleuthed around and figured out. And they were like, this is Skyleap is for people who like the original Stride, right? It's got the endless runner mode and all that stuff, and so it makes me even more curious about Skyleap. Now that we don't have Stride 1 on PSVR 2.
Yeah, you guys did good figuring that out, man. It's kind of interesting that they're doing something that's not got wheels involved with it in some way too. So
yeah. Also, I don't want to disappoint anybody, but Omega Pilot Evolution is also not coming out this year anymore. So they let me know that. Well, yeah, we got plenty of other stuff to play. But yeah, rumor PSVR2 backwards compatible. That's probably the saddest rumor that did not come to fruition. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, such a no-brainer. But
We get it. That's the same reason why you can't go back and play a lot of those PS3 games. Like, it's a little bit different technology. I just wish they would have brought them along and let us buy them again, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Still waiting. Still got that 5% of hope that Sony will find their way and port all of the PSVR1 games over to PSVR2, and then put them as part of a PSVR2 Plus catalog, and then say, dude, you buy a PSVR2 for $250, and you get these 7 first-party games that have all been remastered and upgraded for PSVR2. That's the dream, Wes. It won't happen, but that's the dream.
Keep hope alive, Brian.
I'll try. Good night, everybody. We love you all.
Bye.